Welcome back guys to another updated tier list video for low elo. So today we're going to take a closer look at the champions that got changed in patch 1220 and how they're performing a week after this patch hit. This patch wasn't the biggest one in the world, but we still have quite a few changes from the tier list last week, so let's jump straight into it. And as always, we're going to start off in the top lane. In the S tier, we have Singed, Poppy, Shen, Sejuani, Maud, Darius, Olaf, Nasus, Ornn, and Camille. Yes, Camille is going to move up into that S tier, and Maokai falls down from S to A following on from his nerfs. Urgot and Sion also move up from B to A, and Jax, Aatrox, and Kayle move down from A to B. So Sett did get some nerfs this patch, and he was feeling a bit strong for a while. I mean, his W still deals a ton of damage if he gets it in that sweet spot with that true damage, but his base stats and ratios did get a few nerfs. These changes have not made Sett useless by any means, but they have made a bit of a difference. His win rate fell down by around 1% at the majority of ranks, so if you do hate playing against this guy, it will feel a little bit easier this week. I've seen some really good Sett mains having some better success building him down the full tank route again now, rather than the Blade of the Ruined King damage bruiser route, and he still one-shots all sorts of targets with that W. And I also think that Sett does have a bit of a higher skill ceiling than people might think. Sett did get nerfed, so he's going to be played a little bit less, but if you are good enough at him, he's still a great champion to play at the moment. Now, another top laner that got nerfed this week was Aatrox, and this guy has had his fair share of domination from the top lane recently. This guy was considered S tier at all ranks for a while, but now these recent nerfs have finally put an end to that. We moved him down to the A tier last week, but actually we're going to move him even further down to the B tier this week. He isn't garbage all of a sudden, but he's definitely far more tolerable. Like Sett, Aatrox's win rate has also fell down by around 1%, and he's no way near as oppressive as he was previously. Don't get me wrong, a fed Aatrox is still very scary, and if you don't have any way to stop his healing, you will struggle to beat him, but don't expect to see him every single game now. Maokai's nerfs this week have also made a pretty big difference. Surprisingly, he's still got a really impressive win rate in the support role, and he's still occupying the top tiers there, but in the jungle and the top lane especially, he's really been dampened this patch. Maokai was getting picked in so many games in so many roles since his changes a few patches back with impressive stats all over the map. He's not exactly bad in the top lane now, he still has his place, but you can't just pick him every single game and expect to have the same impact as you did before. His win rate in the top lane has tanked by around 1.5%, so just be a little bit more careful when looking to play him here. If you are a support main though and love a bit of the tanky tree, then crack on. Gwen and Jayce saw some buffs this week, and honestly they've actually made quite a bit of difference. Both of these champions have been non-existent for a while, especially so at those lower ranks, but they both saw massive jumps in their win rate, and they're both nearly at that 50% win rate mark, which you might be surprised but is actually really impressive for these two champions who usually sit in the depths of around 47%. Now we haven't moved these two choices out of the C tier for low elo though, as they just aren't quite there yet, but definitely they are ones to keep your eye out for. Now remember, if you do want to see the best builds and runes for any of these champions featured in the video, then click the link in the description and head on over to our website. There you can find so much content to help you get better and hopefully help you get to that next rank up before the end of the season. So check it out and good luck. Moving into that jungle now, and in the god tier we still just have Fiddlesticks. Now this may change with the jungle changes coming in pre-season, so if you're a Fiddlesticks main, make sure you enjoy it while it lasts. In the S tier though, we have Bel'Veth, Mordekaiser, Udyr, Amumu, Rammus, Volibear, Zac and Echo. Nunu is going to move down from S to A, Vi is actually going to move down from A to B, Evelynn moves up into the A tier, and Nidalee and Wukong move back up into the B tier. So as we predicted, Rammus has flown straight back into those top tiers in the jungle after his buffs in patch 1220. Now we did expect him to bounce back into the S tier straight away, to be honest, as the changes did seem a bit on the strong side. Plus this champion is just so good at low ranks. Rammus's win rate jumped up by nearly 4% this patch, so it's safe to say we got this one right. This champion's crowd control and map mobility are some of the hardest to play against, and if he gets fed he just rolls around the map tanking tons of damage and locking people down without too much counterplay. If you've locked in and a mobile carry without any percentage health damage, good luck killing him without killing yourself first. Evelynn's buffs this week have also seen her fly back into contention. She's always been one of those picks that is infinitely scarier at higher ranks though, and a ton of high elo players are abusing or banning her already this patch. Evelynnn is a snowballing demon in the jungle, and when she's good, certain players can completely 1v9 with her. Seriously, the damage she can deal if she's fed is mental, and not something you want to experience playing against too often. She moves up into the A tier for our low elo tier list after a jump in win rate of around 1%, but just be very careful when playing against her. If she does know what she's doing and she's got a few early kills, it can be really difficult to beat her. Wukong has had a fantastic season, but after a few nerfs too many, he fell off the cliff a little bit. These buffs to his ultimate he got in 1220 have definitely been so helpful to him, and now he's doing a lot better again. We did have him in the C tier as he was performing really poorly in the jungle, but now he's gone back into the B tier this week after his win rate shot up by nearly 2.5%. Wukong jungle isn't going to dominate as often and as easily as it did a few months ago, but if you enjoy it, it's definitely more viable again now. Alright, well let's move down into the mid lane now. And in the S tier we have Swain, Vex, Diana, Zed, Victor, Echo, Akshan and Syndra. Yes, you heard that correctly, the new Syndra rework moves up into the S tier after people have really started to understand how good she is. Akshan also moves back up into the S tier alongside her. Ziggs moves up from B to A and Yone and Orianna come back into that B tier. Seraphine does fall down into the A tier though, and Cassiopeia, Vel'Koz and Kassadin move from A to B. AP, Varus mid and LeBlanc both move down from B to C tier. Overall, not too many changes in the mid lane this week in terms of champions buffed or nerfed. Most were definitely in the top lane and the jungle, but Ziggs did get a little bit of a buff, and we kind of feel like this guy was a bit underrated as he was anyway. You can play Ziggs in both the mid and the bot lane, and this scaling Wave Crane Maniac is actually much better than you may think. There is a lot of viable scaling control mages in the meta at the moment, and Ziggs is not too far off the block with this one. Ziggs saw an increase of nearly 1.5% to his mid and bot lane win rates, and now he's sitting in a really good position. We've moved him up to the A tier this week, so if you do enjoy Ziggs, keep playing him. Syndra has now firmly settled into her place on the Rift, and we've actually put her into the S tier this week. Now her win rate might not be quite as high as some of the others in the same category, but for Syndra to have a positive win rate is quite a big thing already, as she's been seriously lacking in this department all season. Syndra is all about scaling now. She's nowhere near as oppressive in the lane phase, and she might not one-shot you as early as she did in the past. But when you do get that passive stacked up now, you're an absolute nightmare to play against. She now scales incredibly well, deals massive damage, has much wider CC, and one-shots people so much easier now in the later stages of the game. Even tanks she can pop in a matter of seconds with that ultimate, as when it's upgraded from her passive, it'd execute enemies if they hit that 15% health mark. If you do enjoy playing the new Syndra, then keep on doing it, because she's now in a really good spot at the moment and only getting better. Akshan got the smallest of changes this week, but it's actually solidified his return to the S tier. If you didn't know already, Akshan's E can now go on forever. So if you time it and place it right in the perfect place, have fun swinging around and slapping down your enemies and having loads of fun in the process. Akshan can actually solo Dragon now if you manage to do that weird wall bug where you can go spin on the spot, and for a champion that was already performing really well, this has just made him that little bit better. He does have a pretty high ban rate too though, so you may struggle playing him every single game. But if you do manage to lock him in and you know what you're doing, you're going to have some really great results this patch. Well, let's move down to those AD carries now, and in the S tier we have Miss Fortune, Seraphine, Kai'Sa, Twitch and Tristana. Tristana actually moves back into the S tier, Caitlyn and Draven move up from B to A, and Sivir and Kog'Maw fall down from A to B. Not a single change to any AD carries this week, so we will just talk about a few champions that are standing out for us. One of those is Tristana. Honestly, this champion is a bit of a monster at the moment, and she could be your ticket to Diamond if you aren't there already. Tristana's win rate is massive at the minute, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. She has an insane amount of snowball potential paired with a fantastic early kill threat with those jump resets and that bomb. And if you do manage to win the lane phase, you're going to be able to jump around the map and Goomba stomp anyone that you come across. If you're finding it hard playing those passive lanes and want someone new who can either stomp the lane or just scale and play for team fights, Tristana is a fantastic choice to go for. Another AD carry that is performing much better recently is Jinx. She got some buffs a few patches ago that really made a big difference, and she's still having so much of a better time in 1220. Jinx was one of the best AD carries in the game at the start of Season 12 for such a long time, and then a few too many nerfs set her back a bit too far. Now she is back in a really healthy position and winning so many more games again. She has fantastic carry potential with those resets, her long range AoE damage, and just the nature of her hyper carry playstyle. So if you haven't actually played Jinx yet since those buffs, here is a friendly reminder to revisit her. Finally, we've got those supports as well, and in the God tier we still have Janna and Blitzcrank. In the S tier we have Maokai, Taric, Amumu, Sona, Nami and Zilean. Taric has moved back up into the S tier, and Bard also moves up from B to A. Soraka and Renata Glask fall down from S to A, and Lulu, Seraphine, Lux and Leona all move down from A to B. Blitzcrank has been dominating the support scene since those buffs a few weeks ago, and although he has received some nerfs since, he's still just an absolute god tier pick for this role. He is just winning so many games at the moment at pretty much every single rank, so if you aren't on the Beat Boop hype train by now, then you are seriously missing out. Whether you're landing hooks in lane and feeding your AD carry, roaming around the map and impacting other lanes, or just playing for those picks with your hook in the late game. Whatever way you want to play this guy, as long as you know what you're doing, there's not many better options to go for in that support role. Apart from Janna, obviously. There is one other option to consider though, which is actually going to be Taric. Now he's a bit sleeper OP, and he actually has been for a while. He had a brief period recently of people realizing that he was broken, but after a slight nerf, everyone just forgot about him again, and I don't really know why. His win rate is insanely high, and honestly, it's really quite simple to play him too. Whatever lane you pick him into, he always has a way to do his thing, and if you can time his ultimates perfectly, this ability alone can win you the game. Just think of it this way. Diana and Yasuo land a massive 5-man ultimate on your team, but you've used Taric's ultimate at the perfect time. Well, now they're going to deal no damage, and you're going to take them down and win the game. It's as simple as that. And that's going to bring us to the end of our patch 1220 update and review after this week has played out since the changes hit the Rift. We hope you all enjoyed this video all about how the champions changed are performing and how it affects our tier list. Oh, and don't forget, if you do want to check out the tier list for yourself, just click the link in the description and see the high elo one there too. Thanks everyone for watching, we'll see you in the next video, and as always guys, take care.